Hello, welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts, and today what I'm going to be doing is showing you how I make my shaker charms. Now I've got these shaker charm molds, and I will link everything that I've used in the description below using my affiliate link, so you can easily find everything that I use today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the shaker charms. I'm also going to show you how and what to use to fill them so that they don't go off or discolour, how to cover them, and then dome them using the best method so that the dome doesn't pop off and the shaker then gets ruined, and what sort of things that you can put inside them. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all of my future videos, and hit that notification bell so it notifies you when one of my videos comes out. I am getting very musical lately. I have a feeling that Simon Cowell will see my videos and be asking me to go on the X Factor, and I'll soon be a superstar. Right, without too much further ado, let's get on. I've got my resin mixed up now, and I've used 2 mica powders and 2 glitters for this. And what you need to do is to ensure that when you're pouring this in, that you'll pour it in slowly, so because you don't want any trapped bubbles around the edge, and then just move the resin around so it is just over or up to the edge of the silicone mold. That way you won't get any shrinkage and it will be nice and flat. So I'm just speeding through this now. This is the other mica powder I've used, which is a gold, because as you know, I love the gold. And these are the glitter ones. Now, as I always say with the glitter ones, it's really important to let this thicken up, and then that way the glitter will stay suspended throughout the actual piece when it cures. I'm just going over, popping any last minute bubbles, and then I will leave these for about 14 hours to cure up. So these have all cured up now, and they're ready to be turned into shakers. So all you need to do at this stage is to demold them. Now, I probably could leave these about another 4 or 5 hours to get them to be completely hard, but I actually quite like doing them when they're a little bit softer because I feel I can move stuff around a little bit. Now with these molds, you do get already your little indent there for filling them up. That can be quite useful. So out of all these 4, I think they've come out really well and really, really cute. Now, there are a couple of things that you really must do to ensure that not only the integrity of your shaker is going to be okay, but also that you get a clear finish to these items. Now, what you're going to need is you're going to need a piece of clear plastic like this. Now, you can use acetate, but what I've got here is actually this came in some packaging. I think it came with some glass baubles I bought. And as I'm a hoarder, as I'm a crafter, not a hoarder, I do keep everything like this, and it's really, really useful for making shakers. Now, what I would suggest is that you give it a really good clean first, get rid of any fingerprints off it and anything like that, and then just cut it down to size. So when you cut this, it's really important that you put this over like this, and that you leave a gap between where this is going to finish and your actual piece of resin for when you're going to dome. So for instance, I want to cut this, and I want to cut it so that there is an edge between this bit and that bit. So let me just go around and mark this with my permanent marker, and then I'll cut it out and I'll show you exactly what I mean and why that's so important. So I won't wipe the plastic, the marker pen off yet, so that you can easily see it in line with this. But if you look where I line that up, it covers the whole of the gap, but there's a rim going all the way around the edge of that piece of plastic. And the reason that edge is really important is when you attach this to this, you want that edge there because it will hold that piece of plastic in place, and that edge will also be a far better seal than if you had this going right to the edge, because it could just split apart and then all the liquid inside and all the bits come out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of mine out, and then I'll show you exactly how I put them together and fill them. So I've cut all my bits out now, and I've made sure that they fit on there. Now, one of the things that you really must do, and I've done this, or I've forgotten to do this several times before, is ensure you clean your marker off. And I just used some alcohol in this lovely little squeegee thing, which is one of the favourite gadgets in here. And I just run it through there, and it will get that off. Just like that. And then I use a clean bit to give it a bit of a clean, and then actually my whole thing is nice and clean and ready to go for next time. Okay, so I've cleaned all these up now and they're all ready, and as you can see the little plastic bits are on here, and they're all, so there's still an edge going around, which is great. And the easy thing is you can't mix them up because they're all different shapes. I'll cut that bit out. So what the next thing is you need to do is you need to get yourself some UV resin. And I really do think that you've got to use UV resin for this. And I've started to put elastic bands around the wrists of my gloves as well. And that I found really helps to stop my sleeves coming out of the actual glove. The other thing I would recommend strongly is that you don't use the UV resin directly from the bottle to put on, that you actually put it on something and use it from there. Because I think you get a lot more control from it like that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to dip that on there. And so let's do this one first. And then I'm going to do a little line around as well. Now, be careful not to fill up your little opening. I mean, it's not too much of a problem if you do, because you can always just drill it out. And then just put some UV resin around here, like so. I've gone all the way around there now. I'm quite happy with how that is. And then carefully pop this on the top here, making sure that you've got enough space all the way around. Yep, I have. I'm quite happy with that. And then just cure this with your UV resin light until you're happy it's full cured. And then what you do is you realise that you've messed up, and what you haven't done is put your shaker bits in. So this is a good lesson because you can't get it off because it's sealed on there like nobody's business. What a dingle. So put your shaker bits in it first. Now what I want to use for this one is I want to use gold stars, glitter stars. There we go. And I'm also going to use a few of these glass beads. I don't want too many. And you can use whatever you like that's not going to get damaged with the finished stuff that you're going to put into it. And I'm also going to use a little bit of silver holographic glitter as well in there. Try and avoid things that are going to hook onto each other or stick to each other too much, because what you end up with is just a clump once you've done it. So that's enough things in there for me. I'm quite happy with that amount. So then go back to what I said to do before. I won't show this again. I'll just get on with it. And when you're happy that that's finally sealed, what I then do is I then go around the edge of that again to make sure it is fully sealed before I go ahead and dome it. Now, some people like to fill this now before they dome it. I don't. I think it's just preference of what you like to do, but I actually like to fill it after it's domed and fully cured up. I'll just go around there and then I'll cure that with the UV light, and then I'll finish the rest off and show you how I do the next step. I just want to say a quick thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. Thank you very much for your support. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to continue this channel. Make sure you've got a good amount on here and kind of push it up into your edges as well. So you are sealing all those edges. But again, try not to fill the bit that you're going to use to fill the actual thing itself. Also, if you'd like to buy me a coffee as a thank you and to help support this channel, I really do appreciate it. It really does help. Without it, I wouldn't be able to continue this channel. The link to that is in the description below. When doming these, I always use a pipette because I find that I have far more control. As you know, I've used pipettes a lot and I use them a lot in all my projects, and now I know how to easily clean them out, and I will link that video again at the end. What I do is I put a dob or a dollop of the resin in the middle, and then I use the pipette itself to actually move that up to the edge. Now, you don't want it to come over the edge because that way you'll ruin your dome. It will encourage all the rest of the resin to come over the edge, but the surface tension of the resin should be enough that when you're doming it, if you push it up to the edge, it will stay there. And also the pipette won't cause any scratching to it. I always let my resin thicken up quite a lot before I dome it as well. Here you can see I'm going over where the acetate is and onto that edge, and now that's going to get a really nice secure seal, as opposed to if that acetate went right to the edge where it could pop off. I'll leave these for 24 hours to cure up. So these charms are now ready to be filled, and what I use to fill them with is baby oil. And the reason I use baby oil is because it has it's slightly thicker than water, and I think the things inside move around a little bit easier. But also with water, it's far less likely to discolour. So all I do is I fill a bottle like a needle nose end to it, and I will link these in the description below, don't worry. And then I pop that needle nose into there like so, and then I squeeze slowly into here. And what you want to try and do is ensure that you fill it right to the top and avoid having any bubbles in it if you can, because the bubbles do get in the way. And what you want to do is as well is clean that area there so that there's no actual baby oil on it, and then you seal it with a bit of UV resin. Now don't just put the UV resin over the top like that and leave it. Push it into the little hole as well, and then do it again. Try not to get any in the actual shaker itself, because you don't want the piece of secured UV resin in there. And the reason I try and push it into the hole is because then what it'll do is it's far easier to keep that plug in there rather than the plug coming out. And if you just cover it over the edge, then the plug can come off and all the oil can come out. So there we go, that should do. And there we have a little shaker. And the heavier the things that you have in there, the easier it is to move them about. And the reason I like to put the beads in there as well is because that helps to move the glitter around. So when adding a closed ring and a keyring to this, you want to make sure that you try and go for the thickest part, so you're not drilling into where you've put the oil. So for instance, the hedgehog I would drill in there. The cat, I would probably drill through that bit there. And the heart is more difficult, but I'll probably drill at an angle into it there. And I'm just using my Dremel with a really fine little drill piece in it. But you could do this with a hand drill, but why do that when you've got a Dremel? So then I just will clean that up slightly. I always do counter drill when I'm putting in a screw into resin, because the last thing you want it to do is to crack or split the resin. And by counter drilling with the right size drill, depending on what size little screw you've got, then it works really well. And then all you need to do is, if you want to turn this into a keyring, depending on what you want to turn it into, is to get a little jump ring. Open the jump ring, pop that on there, get one of your little keyring bits on there like that, close it up, and there we go, you have your shaker keyring. And I think that looks quite pretty, and they're really easy to make as long as you follow just a few simple instructions. So there we go, they're all finished now and ready to give away or whatever you want to do with them, and turned into key rings. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I release videos several times per week, and I do lots of either projects or experiments. And check out the video that's coming up next on the screen if you want to learn how to clean out your pipettes and clean out your resin area after use. It's a really quite a useful video. I think the cat's my favourite. I quite like the hedgehog too. Anyway, take care of yourself, have fun, bye.